the province has announced its fourth round of municipalities that will need to meet a 5-year new housing target. So this is an initiative to address housing affordability in BC. This time around, the city of Burnaby is on the list, and their target more than 10,000 new homes. So it's by far the highest target in the cohort, ahead of Richmond, which must build just over 6,700 new homes. So to speak more about this, we're joined by the Mayor of Burnaby, Mike Hurley. Mayor Hurley, hi there, and a very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Gloria.
So that's a pretty big target, more than 10,000 new homes. Where are you at with meeting those targets?
Well, we're always a bit baffled about where the provincial government is going on housing, although we do want to remain good, work with the province to get where we need to get to. So to put it in context, at present, we have 25,000 units of housing that we have already approved, but the permits are not being picked up by developers, and that's because of economic conditions. And so I have no doubt that we can meet those numbers that the province has set down with the just saying that we're responsible for permitting. We're not responsible for the buildings actually getting built. And the province seems to miss this point each and every time when they set targets. So, yeah, they're big targets, but we have always been leaders in housing in Burnaby, and we'll continue to build the housing that's needed.
Right. And how do you feel about the province even setting these targets for municipalities?
Well, I think it's, from my perspective, I've always opposed the changes that the province has made to housing and the massive overreach they've made, in my opinion, into housing. We were getting the job done, and we never had any issues. So, as I said, I'm really baffled about why the province has stepped in here. They should be focusing, in my opinion, on infrastructure, schools, transit, all the other infrastructure that's needed to ensure that when we do move people in, that they have schools to go to and transit to catch. So I believe that that's where the province should be focusing, and let the cities get on with the work that most of us do very well.
The province's target is for, that blanket statement, new homes. It doesn't really stipulate what kinds of homes. I mean, how would you describe the majority of the homes that will be built to meet this target over the next 5 years?
Yeah, well, we have really tried to focus now on family-based housing. So we're looking to try and get more 2-3 bedrooms units built. Ground-oriented housing. I think that more and more people are calling for that, although there still will be many apartments that will get built in our town centers. So, I've done a lot of work on our OCP. We've really sped up the process within Burnaby. So we have tried to do the work that needs to be done to ensure that it's easier for builders, but economic conditions at present are not allowing things to be built.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We had a conversation on the early edition last week about how developers right now are building for investors. So when I hear you saying we want to build for families, 2 and 3 bedroom homes, developers are kind of focusing on studios and 1-bedroom condos. So how do you address that disconnect?
Well, that's something that we have to work with the development community on. And I think, there are many of those studios and small apartments that are not being sold right now. And I think that maybe the development community has to look at, and I know they're trying to save costs and keep costs down, but we need to think about who we're building these homes for.
With that many more homes, though, it means that a lot more people are going to be living in your city, in Burnaby. I mean, what is the approach right now? You talked about needing some support for infrastructure. How are you going to make sure that the infrastructure is in place to meet the needs of a growing population?
Well, we had a system in place until the province took it away that was very successful in Burnaby, and that was density bonusing. Now the province requires us to charge DCCs, development cost charges, for new construction, which they believe will be the way to fund the infrastructure that cities need. But really, there needs to be a whole new look at how cities are funding things. Right now, municipalities only receive 52 cents for every dollar collected in property tax. The rest goes to the province and other regional authorities. So there needs to be a whole new look at how cities are going to keep up with the demanding infrastructure like new water services, new wastewater services, which are really, really, really expensive projects.
You know, Mayor Hurley, you identified something pretty key at the outset of our conversation here, that yes, the city can give the green light to projects, and you have been green lighting the projects, but it's really up to the developers to build. You point to, changing economic conditions as well that are hampering developers, I guess, confidence in starting up some of these projects. Pre-sales have been down, that type of thing. So how will you respond if those buildings don't materialize?
Well, we'll do our work, which is approvals, and I keep saying that, and the province keeps going back to that cities are responsible to getting occupancies, which is not true. I mean, we're responsible for setting the conditions that allow projects to move ahead. That's what cities do. So that'll be an interesting conversation if that's the way things work out. But we're very confident, though, that we'll meet and exceed the targets that the province has set.
It's great that you are feeling so confident. We have heard from other municipalities that are pushing back on those numbers and pushing back on the province's expectations. The province gave Pitt Meadows, for example, a target of 727 homes. The city said even that's going to be difficult to meet given their unique local conditions. What kinds of conversations are you having with other mayors, other municipalities around this?
Well, every municipality has its own challenges. We have really moved the needle in housing in Burnaby all the way through. We're fortunate that we have, the SkyTrain lines coming through that move people around. Other cities don't have those transit options like we do. And, we're right in the center of the Lower Mainland, and that gives us some advantages as well. So every city has its own challenges. And I know many, many mayors are very concerned. I'm very concerned about the burden that the province has put on municipalities and the changes they have made that have taken powers away from how we manage our land, and that's causing a lot of stress within our communities right now.
Mayor Hurley, listen, thank you very much. We always appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's Mike Hurley, the mayor of Burnaby.